Welcome to A Cup Full with myself, Tshegetso Mwebi, a safe, honest, and open space that aims to help you navigate healing, growth, and just overall prioritizing your well-being. It is guaranteed to get uncomfortable for sure and very vulnerable, but more than anything else, an opportunity to enjoy the peace that comes with working on yourself. Here's to filling your cup up. Hi community, thank you for joining me in a new week for a new episode of A Cup Full. It's finally December, which means 2022 is very quickly coming to a close. Thank goodness, this year has been a bit much. This is also the very last episode of this year. It has been such a beautiful and challenging run. I am so grateful and look forward to getting the necessary rest in preparation for 2023. I'm definitely going to be back with a bang in the new year. That means that I'm going all out, as much as all out as I possibly can. I'm going to be back, I'm going to be revitalized, I'm going to be energized. I would have recuperated and rested, so I'm very excited about that. Thank you again for your incredible support. It means so much to me, and I'm really so excited for the continuing and continued growth of this community and just the healing and the peace and the happiness that this community will continue to experience through this podcast, through sharing, through connecting. In the spirit of the festive season, in this week's episode, we're getting into how to navigate minding your heart and mind, as well as handling interactions with that one family member or those few family members who just will not stop asking you when you're getting married or having kids or moving out of your parents' house, or even having to ignore those whispers that aren't really whispers about how you're old enough to be doing so much more with your life, but you aren't. I think this specific thing that I just that I'm speaking of today, I know that a lot of people in their late 20s are going to be able to relate. In general, I think we all experience difficulties during the festive season, especially if you come from an environment where people lack boundaries. Extended family, even your close family might lack boundaries, and there hasn't really been a spirit or a culture of talking about things and knowing which lines not to cross with people and so forth. This is something that I think we all deal with no matter where we are in our 20s. There are a lot of questions that fly around, especially because a lot of families are together in one place. It could be for a day, like for Christmas, or over a couple of days, or in between days during the festive season. But in general, we spend a lot of time around family, for those who do spend a lot of time around their families. And it's important as a person that is healing and growing and just becoming a better version of yourself and working through the things that you feel like need to be improved. There are ways to deal with things, and there are ways to maintain our peace, right? So you can still address something without fighting, without yelling at anyone. There are many situations where you're not going to return disrespect with respect, but you also don't need to be screaming and shouting at a person. So I really wanted to get into this because I understand how difficult it can be to navigate the things that come with this season, especially with families that lean a lot into the societal idea of what it looks like to be in your late 20s or in your early 30s, right? Or in your mid 30s or your late 30s. So all sorts of questions fly around. When are you getting married? When are you having kids? Time is moving, you are at your peak to have children, all these really weird things that society just decides to come up with, and then people don't question them, so they just kind of stick. As much as the reality is that you know where you are and you could be content, doesn't mean that you're not going to get questions from people, family in this case, and it doesn't mean that every single time you get a question you need to be up in arms and fighting. You can easily create boundaries and you can easily address things without screaming and shouting, without any hostility. It's really just it's a time to be out and about on holiday, or even just enjoying the mundane things that you haven't been able to because of how busy and difficult the year has been. A time to really get your heart and mind into both recovery mode and peace mode. It's your time to rest, have some fun, but most importantly, to have a peaceful festive season. The older I get, the more I'd see December as a good month to balance out being out and about and having fun and socializing, and then just recuperating and working on your emotional battery, your spiritual battery, your physical battery, your financial battery, and just doing the necessary planning and being committed to the goals and the dreams that you are putting down for yourself for the following year. So I really enjoy that the festive season is such a good time to have a good time, but it also is a good time to be mindful of yourself and be mindful of, how you are choosing to rest and how you are choosing to recuperate and how you're choosing to just take good care of yourself, especially after having a tumultuous year. So it's really just a time to be at peace and to prepare yourself mentally for the new year. January is not very far away from right now, and it's just almost as if when we get to the middle of the month of December, every single year, things just move so quickly. So enjoy yourself, have fun, spend time interacting with friends or socializing with friends and doing the fun stuff that you didn't really get a chance to do, go on holiday and all of that good stuff. But also have those small moments to yourself where you're resting, or have those small moments where you're recuperating, when you can put your phone down, put it down, pick up a book, or put it down and go for a walk, or put it down and go for a swim. Just really those little things that are going to build into one big thing, that are going to help you and that are going to allow you to feel a lot more rested and at peace and just content and comfortable and feeling very confident about going into the new year. The first thing that I'm definitely going to go with, it's kind of a list. It's kind of a put together of my own experiences over the times that I have, or in the times that I have had to deal with the festive season, which includes family members and their very invasive questions, but just the festive season in general, and what has helped me be in a better mindset. So be comfortable saying no. Say no when you don't feel like drinking or going out. Say no if you cannot afford to put petrol in your car to transport family members. Don't agree to chipping in when you know it's something you cannot afford. Just be comfortable with not always being the person that can help out. There is absolutely no point in volunteering for something, even when you can't do it, because the person it is going to come back the hardest on is you. So please, where you can chip in, obviously, definitely do so, but don't dig into your savings or don't step outside of your budget because you want to be the person that is helping or lending a helping hand. Or it's really okay to not have the money or not have the capacity to do things. So just be comfortable with saying no. It's so easy to fall into saying yes to doing everything. So be honest, be okay with saying no. It's fine to not be able to do everything all the time for everyone. When it comes to rude family members, you need to call them out, because for many, the festive season is family time, and that often also means seeing that nosy, no boundaries, really disrespectful uncle or aunt or cousin that rarely thinks before they speak and thinks that asking out of pocket questions and demanding answers is appropriate. Could even be your own mom or your own dad. It might not just be extended family. You need to create boundaries. That's something that is so important the older you get. There are things in your life, there are places and times in your life that are going to require you to make sure that you have boundaries and that you are sticking by them firmly. As a matter of fact, we are not able to live a full, fulfilling, healthy, peaceful life without any boundaries, because then anyone can come and go in our lives and we can also do as we wish, even if it is at the detriment of our own well-being. So don't let anyone just talk to you however they want to talk to you, when you feel like a question is too invasive, make it clear that this that you are asking me is not something that I'm going to answer. It is not something that is up for discussion. Can we please talk about something else? And that's it. You don't even need to start your sentence with all due respect. You just need to say, this is a place that I'm not willing to go to. I don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about something else. And obviously, if somebody persists, then all you need to do is move away from them. Because sometimes that's the only option that we have. You're going to be around these people. All you can do is really just keep a healthy distance. Create the very firm boundaries that I have mentioned by making that family member or family members aware that they are, number one, making you uncomfortable, and number two, that you will not be answering their questions because you don't want to, you don't have to, and there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot, especially if you haven't seen that person or those people for the entire year and you're only getting a chance to get together now. There's so much to talk about. There are so many moments that they didn't share with you throughout the year. So just say that we can really be talking about anything else other than my life and other than what's going on in it in terms of when I'm starting a family, when I'm getting married, or so forth. For anyone asking about your marital, child, career, car, and household status, the only answer you should be giving them is that has nothing to do with you. Or I don't want to talk about it. Don't have to talk about it, and then you leave it at that. Please don't forget that, as I've mentioned before, you are not in a race with anyone other than yourself. And in that race, you should be pacing yourself. I've said it in many previous episodes that your life is your life. It is your pace. It is your race. You don't have to have done certain things at a specific age. You don't have to have achieved certain things at a specific age. You are not failing. You are not falling behind. Just because you still live with your parents or because your salary is not covering perhaps a car installment, or you just are not getting the promotion that you believe that you should be getting. It's really okay. I know it might not seem okay right now or in the moment, but this life is long. Your life is long, and treat it as such. Treat your life as a beautiful, long journey that lies ahead of you, where you can still explore so many things and pursue so many opportunities, and where you are going to be in love and you are going to feel like the person that you are with is the right person to embark on a journey with and to build many beautiful things with, to discover many beautiful things with. And that you will have kids and you'll have the home that you want and you'll have the car that you want. Your life, it hasn't stopped just because you have turned 28 years old or 29 years old or 27 years old and you feel like you do not have your shit together. Definitely not. It's also just fine that 2022 just didn't go as you had planned. I just wanted to throw that in there. So just remember that you don't have to answer any questions that you don't want to, and you can very clearly in a moment, within a second, set a boundary and say, this is a part of my life that is not up for discussion. We are not going to talk about it, especially if someone is, and you can tell that they aren't coming from a good place, but they want to just get a reaction out of you or make you feel bad about yourself. It's a different story, obviously, when it's that one close cousin and, you know, you're just getting into your lives and where you thought you'd be and where you're at. That's fine. That's a completely different discussion. But those very invasive questions, very rude, patronizing, don't get into it. That is one way to protect your peace and be mindful of your heart and your mind. It's just don't get into things with anyone that you just don't want to get into things with. You do not have to. Protect yourself, your peace, your heart, and your mind. When it comes to family, we all know our families well enough. We all know the dynamics of our close family and extended family. We all understand that one aunt or uncle, we're all very aware that they also grew up in different times. When you were 28 back then, you were most likely married and on your second or third child. and your husband has built you a home, or you have bought a home with your husband, you've got a car or two, and this man is bringing in the dough, and you are also possibly working, or you're staying at home and you're taking care of the kids. So I understand that a lot of the much older family members, the aunts, the uncles, grandpa, granny, and even our own parents grew up in completely different times. So I guess it's very important where there's an opportunity to open that discussion up. If you come from a family where there's a lot of progressiveness and people want to have conversations, then that's great. Then do that. Have those conversations. Talk and say, I understand that you come from a different time, but I also come from a different time. And I just want you to understand that I'm in a different place in my life. Please stop asking me these questions. Please respect my privacy. Please respect that this is not something that is up for discussion. And then if you're fortunate enough, you just never hear about it again. But obviously, if you come from a family extended family or even close family that just don't understand that these are different times and that you're allowed to question why something was like this before, and you're allowed to say, I'm going to do it like this now. It's obviously such a difficult thing to navigate. But like I said, in an environment where there isn't much progressiveness and very archaic ways of thinking, and the much older generations are holding on to their ways of doing things and living and have an expectation that the much younger generations are going to do the same, it's a completely different story. What I'm trying to really get at is, we know our family members very well, and you know how to approach which family member in which way. You know what to entertain and what not to entertain. You're old enough to understand that in preserving your peace and your well-being, there are certain things that you need to do, like creating boundaries and just affirm your case. Whether that is going to make you come across as disrespectful or rude or just not very accommodating of other people, then that's fine. But it's very important, especially in family dynamics, to make sure that people understand that there are things that are just not okay and that we are not willing to accept, whether we're in a family setting or not, and that there are things that are just not appropriate to be spoken of, or that shouldn't be discussions at all. And to understand that we are coming together as family not to humiliate each other or make each other uncomfortable or hate each other, but to enjoy one another's presence. Please don't forget that you are able to assert yourself and your position without causing a scene or swearing at anyone. I always say that you can call people out without breaking their spirits. You can point people in the right direction without reminding them how less educated they are or how less privileged they are. You just don't have to bring other things into the conversation. Just say, I don't like this, I'm not going to allow this, please let's not go there, and that's it. Another thing that I highly recommend is that when you feel uncomfortable, upset, please acknowledge how it has made you feel. Don't pretend that it did not make you upset or angry. Feel it so that you can deal with it in the manner that will be most suitable for you. Most importantly, in a manner that makes you feel protected and that will ensure that the person that was disrespecting you or that continues to disrespect you really gives themselves a chance to think twice before approaching you with ill intentions ever again. Again, especially in the family dynamics, there is just so much that goes on. Everybody comes from different backgrounds. Everybody understands things differently, especially when it comes to the much older generations. Some questions are just questions to them. It's not an invasive thing, which is why you need to say and acknowledge that this thing has made you upset. Just don't pretend that it hasn't done that. I also know that in many households, many families, the culture is never really to speak. And I'm not going to say many families, but I know that it is not very common, especially in Black families, for there to be open conversations about feelings and to say that you have made me feel this way by speaking to me this way. That dynamic very rarely exists. So, of course, it's going to be incredibly uncomfortable to do, and maybe in many situations you are not going to feel like you're being acknowledged the way you want to, because that culture has never really existed. But to cultivate it, and because of you are also doing it for yourself and for your well-being and for your healing and your peace, you just have to cultivate it in your own way like that. Just say that I don't like this. Whether you come across as the complainer, whether you come across as exhausting, it just doesn't matter. As long as you're able to state that and feel that, apart from saying to the next person, you made me feel this way, feel it within yourself, so that you can eventually go to that person that made you feel that way, the person that spoke to you funny, the person who just continues to fat shame you, or the person who continues to make fun of the fact that you are not as far ahead as your cousins, or as far ahead as everybody had predicted that you would be. Feel those things. There is the biggest importance in feeling your emotions. I like to think of our feelings as something that can easily manifest into some very, very, very heavy baggage if you don't deal with it, if you don't allow yourself to process your emotions. It can become daunting. It's going to be you and carrying plastics and plastics and plastics of unresolved feelings from many years. So deal with the things that you're feeling so that you're able to process it. Will you always get the apology you're looking for or the acknowledgement that you're looking for? Probably not, especially if you, again, come from a family that doesn't necessarily have the culture of talking about things or acknowledging each other's feelings. But this is something that you need to do for yourself as someone who's trying to maintain your well-being. So feel the things. I always say it. Feel them. If you gotta go to the bathroom and cry, cry. If you need to pull someone aside, immediately. Obviously, I always say cool down first. But if you really feel like you need to tell someone immediately, don't let it become a humongous fight. Just say to the person, hey dude, I really didn't like how you spoke to me. I didn't like how you handled that. And then resolve it in that moment. Please feel the things you are feeling and then find healthy, good ways to work through those feelings. I also strongly believe that if people continue to disrespect you and your boundaries, then you have every right to keep a distance from them. I mentioned this earlier on. When a person continues to disrespect you and continues to show you that they just aren't interested in what you're saying, then keeping a healthy distance is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Just because it's family doesn't mean you don't have to protect yourself from them. A toxic environment is not good for anyone's mental health or overall well-being, and you don't have to stick around in that kind of environment because the people that are the main source of that toxicity are your blood. Blood really do be thicker than water, but that's just a saying. It's an important saying that applies in many situations, where it's saying that family will have your back through and through, or should have your back through and through, because they're your family. Family should treat each other with love and respect because they're your family. Family should be there for each other without wanting anything in return. And when I say not wanting anything in return, I'm not saying reciprocation. I'm talking about you are not helping me so that I can pay for your plane ticket, or you're not helping me so that I can give you 10,000 rands tomorrow. So the term blood is thicker than water should be, we should start using it differently, because friends can turn into family very quickly, especially when your own family doesn't treat you well. So blood is thicker than water translates to everything that I've just said in my eyes, from my perspective. The other things that I'm about to get into that you should be doing are as follows. Make plenty of time for yourself in between catching up with family and friends. Spring cleaning and getting everything else that is festive related done. Please don't forget to prioritize resting. I speak about it a lot. I believe in it so much. I want to have the opportunity for the rest of my life to rest whenever I want to. And I guess in the dreams that I have for myself and the things that I want to achieve for myself, I want rest to be a very big and important part of reaching my goals. So I very strongly believe in working hard and being diligent and striving for the best, but none of that translates to me, none of that translates to not resting, not sleeping, not giving myself a break from the busyness of the world and from constantly wanting to achieve. None of that translates to not resting for me. We need sleep. According to a recent study, women need 8 to 10 hours of sleep, because apparently that 7-8 is not enough. So if you can maybe do 8 to 10, I mean, in an ideal world. But yes, please just rest. Please rest. Please make that an important part of your festive season. It's very important. It contributes towards the well-being of your body, of your mind, the well-being of your spirit, of your heart. It is a fundamentally important element in being well. You need to rest. Get into planning for 2023. Whether you're creating a vision board or looking for an exercise and eating regime to follow, do it. This is for you. This is for your peace. This is for your happiness. This is for building into the person that you really want to become. Whether it's a more peaceful and content person, whether it's a more healed person, whether it's just a person who's able to express themselves better. Invest time into working towards becoming the better version of yourself. Don't just speak it, do it. Drink plenty of water and spend some time in your day away from your phone or any other screen. This is the time for you to recuperate and get ready for the new year. Stay away from screens as much as you can. I highly recommend that. Social media as much as you can. Give yourself a healthy distance from that. I highly recommend that. Give yourself time with you. Give yourself a lot of time with you. Like I said, it's recuperation month. It's a good month to be out and about. Keep things balanced. Have your fun. If you're going to groove, go to groove. If you're going to go brunch, go to brunch. But then come back and just relax and maybe then do it again tomorrow. Balance, or do it again in the next few days. Balance. Have your fun, but also rest and make sure that your cup is not empty when it's January 1st or when it's fast approaching time for you to get back into the groove of things. Make sure that you have done enough to feel rested, be rested, and really just be excited about working your way into 2023. Be a little adventurous, man. If you have the time and money, why not? Take a short lift or go on a shopping spree. Go and spend a day by the sea. Wake up and go on a solo brunch date. Have fun and don't even think twice about doing it. It's a festive season. So please allow yourself to be adventurous. Allow that button to be available. Put that switch on. Be a little adventurous. Get yourself excited about things. And if you can afford to do the things that require money, then do them. Please do them. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. Especially if this year wasn't the easiest on you. My hand goes up on this one. It was a very difficult year. It was a painful year. That's the word I'm going to use. I was thinking about it, and the pandemic years, those 2 years were very hard for me, but this year was very painful because it felt like there was a serious purge happening for me, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. It just really was painful. It felt like I needed to sometimes, often, all the time. It just felt like I am moving in different directions and it just gets more and more painful. It wasn't an easy year at all, and I'm really just trying to give myself a break now. It really is okay also if you didn't achieve as many of your goals as you wanted to, or if you didn't achieve any at all. That's fine. It's also okay if you felt like you achieved nothing in any way. As I always say, it is only a bad season and not a bad life, and even in the bad comes good. It could be rest that you may have needed for a while. It might be the lesson of patience, or even just having to learn to express gratitude despite your life circumstances. This year definitely taught me how to learn to be patient and to just understand when it is time for me to rest my body, mind, and spirit. I also learned the importance of expressing gratitude in the waiting, no matter how long or short it is. This year most definitely wasn't my favorite. was painful, but I learned so much, and I'm so grateful that there is so much value in the things that I learned. Forever grateful for that. If this was a good year for you, celebrate yourself and don't be shy about it. Please just immerse yourself in celebration. You deserve it. You know how hard you've worked. You know how much time you've had to sacrifice for whatever. You are aware how much you've put on the line for whatever. So celebrate yourself. Don't be shy. Go off. Most importantly, don't forget to, in all that you do, treat yourself with kindness. Take good care of your mental and physical well-being, and spend each day cherishing your existence, because it is really incredibly special and important that you are walking on this here Mother Earth. Don't forget that, as cheesy as it sounds, as much as you might have heard it, your life is filled with purpose. You are a purposeful individual, and carry yourself into 2023 in that mindset that your life has got so much purpose, and that your circumstances are not a definition of who you are or what you can achieve. Not at all. Not at all. This is where we're ending the last episode for 2022. I'm going to spend the remainder of this year resting and preparing to come back with my absolute best for the new year. If there is an episode that you missed, you can always add it to your things to listen to this festive season. Don't forget that A Cupful is available to be listened to on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can also follow the Instagram page. The handle is @A_cupful to stay in the loop about all things A Cupful related. And there's also the perfect opportunity to share your thoughts via DM. Please don't forget to be generous with those 5-star ratings, especially because of you know how much you love it here, and so do I. So go on ahead and give this podcast a 5-star rating, please. I'm also going to take this opportunity to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and the happiest New Year. I hope you allow yourself to go into the new year with a clean slate and prepare your heart, body, and mind for many beautiful things and moments that are to come in abundance. Don't forget to eat well, rest plenty, and take good care of your heart and mind. Value yourself and your time, and don't forget to keep doing the things that fill your cup up. I'll see you all in the new year.